Have you ever felt like the only person trying to do what's right in the middle of a world that seems to have lost its way? That sense of rowing against the tide? Today, the Bible introduces a man who lived exactly that, and shows that it only takes one person. It only takes one faithful person for God to begin the world again. Welcome to Day 5. Here at Contact with God, we've been watching a fall unfold in cascade. On Day 3, sin entered the heart. On Day 4, it became violence between brothers. Today, in Genesis 5 and 6, we see what happens when no one stops that snowball. Evil spreads through all of humanity. But before getting there, Chapter 5 does something curious. It stops and lists generation after generation, from Adam to Noah. It can look like just a list of hard names to skip over, but there is gold hidden there. Let's find it. Genesis 5 is the first great genealogy of the Bible. Adam lived so many years and had a son and died. Seth lived so many years, had children, and died. And so it goes, with a refrain that repeats like a bell. And he died. Remember how on Day 3, God had said, "You are dust, and to dust you shall return"? Here we see that word being fulfilled. Death now reigns. But in the middle of the refrain of death, life does not stop. Each one, before dying, has children. The promise stays alive, passing from hand to hand. And you'll notice the enormous ages. Methuselah, 969 years. The man who lived the longest in the Bible. You don't need to get stuck on this. The ancients used these high numbers in a symbolic way. Those first generations, closer to the origin, had a kind of greatness. And notice that, as sin increases, the ages keep decreasing. And in the middle of this list, a beautiful exception shines. Of almost everyone it says, "And he died." But of one man, named Enoch, the text says something different. Enoch walked with God, and he was no more, because God took him. He did not die like the others. He walked with God, and God took him. This little sentence is one of the most beautiful. It says there is a way of living, walking with God, walking side by side with Him in everyday life, that changes everything. Then we reach Chapter 6, and the tone darkens. The text says that the wickedness of the human being was great upon the earth. The violence that began with Cain has now filled the world. And then comes one of the most striking sentences about the heart of God. It says, "God regretted having made the human being, and it grieved him to his heart." Be careful not to misunderstand. It's not that God made a mistake. It is the Bible's language for saying something profound. Sin grieves God. He is not indifferent to the evil we do to one another. The pain of the world is also a pain in the heart of God. And God decides to begin again, with a great flood, which we'll see tomorrow. But Chapter 6 ends in a turn of hope. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. In the middle of an entirely corrupt world, there was one man, a righteous one. And the text says of him exactly what it had said of Enoch. Noah walked with God. There's the verb again. And God gives Noah a concrete mission, to build an ark, an enormous boat, to save his family and life upon the earth. God does not give up on creation. He begins it again from a single faithful man. What do these chapters reveal about God and about us? First, the secret of an entire life fits in one verb, to walk with God. That is what was said of Enoch and of Noah. Walking with God is not a mystical experience reserved for a few. It is a daily decision to walk beside Him. Whoever walks with God can cross any corrupt world without getting lost. Second, sin grieves God. Genesis 6 says, "The evil of the world grieved him to his heart." That means God takes you seriously. Your choices matter to Him. And when you suffer at the hands of someone else's evil, God is not watching from far away. He suffers with you. Third, it only takes one righteous person for God to begin again. The whole world was lost. and God saved humanity through one man. The early Christians saw in the ark an image of the church, and in the floodwaters, they saw baptism. And above all, they saw that the one righteous man who saves the world points to Jesus, through whom all humanity is rescued. A challenge for today. Take that verb of Enoch and Noah and make it concrete today. Walk with God. Invite God into an ordinary part of your day. The commute, the dishes, the walk, the moment before sleep. Talk to him there, like someone walking beside a friend. If you feel like the only one trying to do what's right, remember Noah, the whole world doesn't have to change. You just have to stay faithful. Let's end in prayer. Lord, in the middle of a noisy world, I want to learn to walk with you, like Enoch, like Noah. Walk with me in the small things. Remind me that it only takes one faithful heart for you to begin everything again. Make me someone who finds grace in your eyes. Amen. See you tomorrow here at Contact with God.